Hey guys, it's Alex with Hammond Watch. I'm here today with the Hamilton Khaki H70605993. And it's the 42 millimeter brown dial variant. And I had searched for this watch on YouTube. I saw an opportunity to pick one up pretty cheap. Didn't really see any comprehensive videos, so I figured I'd get it in and at least share it with you guys and give you my thoughts. Especially since the sizing actually surprised me a little. So your case size is 42 millimeters. Like most Hamilton khakis, you have a 11 millimeter thickness, so a very slim profile. The crown is a wonderful 7 millimeters. Comes off nice and oversized, super easy to operate. You do get a Hamilton H, and it is push-pull, so no screw down at all. But you are still getting 100 meters of water resistance through that and the screw down case back. One of the more, I guess, surprising measurements was the Lug To Lug. So if you do effective with folding in the strap and kind of getting the innermost measurement, I was getting 49.33. From lug tip to lug tip, it was 52.6, which doesn't really affect how comfortable the watch is. You know, you really want that effective or working lug to lug to be under 50 in most cases, but visually stretching out to over 52 millimeters certainly gives the watch a really big footprint. You have 22 millimeter lugs, and then what I think is a pretty nice canvas strap. There's no taper to it at all. It's 22 millimeters all the way down. You do have leather through the keepers as well as a leather backside. And then once we get to the buckle, you've got this nice kind of H pattern in the tang. Also your branded Hamilton on this 26.6 millimeter buckle. Powering this watch, like the 40 millimeter variant, is the H10 Movement. The H10 is based on the ETA C07111. Which is derived on the 2824-2. Essentially, they take these movements and they slow them down to give them a longer power reserve of 80 hours. I know some guys don't like slowing down the seconds hand. I think in general it doesn't really hurt how I feel about an automatic watch if the beat rate is a little bit slower. And I personally find that added power reserve is kind of my preferred spec for day-to-day use. Your accuracy out of the box on these is plus or minus 15 seconds a day, although this one is running just about 5 seconds short. So if you've seen any of my other Hamilton khaki reviews, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of Hamilton's finishing work. I do think at the price point they are a cut above. Their brushing is so extremely uniform that it's got a rich kind of satin feel to it that I just don't experience when I'm handling some of the Seiko and Tissot watches at the same price point. I also think that they've done a lovely job of mixing two aesthetics. You know, on one hand, they want to give you a tough, rugged, vintage-inspired field watch. So you get this nice canvas strap, the faux tinaed military dial. But then on the other hand, they still want you to feel like you have a Swiss luxury product. So to do that, they added a lot of shine. You know, the bezel being fully polished out as well as the crown gives a nice little light play to it and gives the watch a bit more of a dynamic effect and pulls it away from being a straightforward tool. You know, also leaving off the anti-reflective coating. You know, I know some guys that pick these up really don't like that because they want a true military tool watch. But at the same time, I think all of that light play goes to help give a little bit more of a rich experience with the watch. You know, aside from the looks, I do also enjoy just the general operations of the watch. The H10 Movement is widely used by Hamilton, and I will say they've done a good job in making it feel extremely robust, and it's a generally easy to operate movement. There's no screw down crown. So if you, at the most engaged position, all the way in where time is running, if you spin the crown clockwise, you'll feel gears winding in the movement. That's charging it up, giving a little bit more power reserve. As you pull out to the first position, you're going to be able to engage your date wheel. Again, as you move clockwise, it's going to run through your dates. And then when you pull the crown all the way out to the second position, your seconds hand will stop, and that will allow you to have a little bit more precision with your time setting. But while operating the crown, some watches that you'll get around this price point have a little bit of a instability or a wobble to them, and that's just not the case here. Everything feels very planted, and it inspires a tremendous amount of confidence in operating this watch. As is the case with all the khakis, the lume is adequate, but not much beyond that. You'll see you get all of the numerals loomed as well as the hands, and while you get a nice green glow in the beginning, it does fade pretty quickly. In real world use, you're going to get a couple hours of low light visibility, but it's certainly not going to be lasting through the evening. So here's the watch draped across my 7.5 to 7 3/4 inch wrist. I could certainly pull it off, but at the same time, it just feels a little bit too big for my wrist, or for my personal taste rather. I'm not going to put it on completely and bend the strap. The watch will be getting returned, and I certainly want to leave it in as good a shape as possible for the next guy. But when I start talking about this sizing, I mean, it is a pretty large piece. If you have an 8-inch wrist, or feel like the other Hamilton khakis are maybe a bit small for you, this could be a great option. But you can see it here next to the Turtle. I mean, it feels like a substantially larger watch. And while the case dimensions are smaller, that lug to lug being stretched out, as well as having so much dial real estate, just means that it feels big. So if you're into big watches and have never really been sold on Hamilton khakis in the past, I suggest trying this thing out. It's a little bit big for me, but maybe perfect for you. Pricing on these varies so much. When you look retail from Hamilton, you're looking at... So let's discuss the pricing really quick. The Hamilton website lists the retail on this particular watch at $745. All things considered in the watch world, I guess it's not atrocious, but it's far more expensive than you're actually going to have to pay. You can buy this watch off Amazon for $620. Retailer Watch Warehouse sells it for $522. And then on eBay, there's a couple of sellers with really strong feedback selling these new at $389. All of that said, I picked this up from Ashford. I've talked about them in other Hamilton videos. They offer some of the best deals you'll find. They do flash sales to try to move kind of stale products, and when they do, man, some of the pricing is amazing. I was able to buy this watch brand new for $310. After tax and with free shipping, that came out to $332 USD. Which at that price, I think this watch is an absolute steal. I've seen them do it with the Red Bull Air Race watches, the 40mm version of this, the Hamilton khakis on bracelets. Like, they just consistently churn out every couple of months one of the better deals on Hamilton khaki pieces. You don't always get the full box and setup. This watch came delivered in the Hamilton service pouch. And it had a blank warranty card, and it did have the manuals. But I think that's a pretty fair trade-off for the pricing that you're going to be able to get. Just be patient and keep checking back with them. This video isn't sponsored by them. I just want more people to know about that, because I feel like Ashford kind of flies under the radar. If you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It helps out tremendously in YouTube's algorithm. Also consider subscribing. I put watch content out weekly, and I hope to see you in the next one.